135,000 trained soldiers on one side. On the other side, 300 men carrying nothing but torches and empty jars. No swords, no army, no backup, and yet by morning every single enemy was dead or running. This is the story of Gideon, the man God chose to do the impossible with almost nothing. And what happens in this story will change the way you see yourself forever. Israel had a major problem. For 7 years, the Midianites had been devastating everything around. All the crops, all the livestock, gone. The Israelites were scared enough to hide in holes and mountains for survival. They had abandoned God, and now they were facing the consequences. Broken, humiliated, and hungry, the whole nation was falling apart. But then, God finally made up his mind that it was time to act. Only not in the way anybody could have imagined. Gideon was hiding, literally hiding, threshing wheat in a wine press so that the Midianites wouldn't see him and take his food. That is not a warrior. That is a scared man trying to keep from getting killed. But then suddenly, an angel appears and says something that must have seemed like a joke. "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon looks around confused. Might warrior? Him? He asks. If the Lord is with us, why is all this happening to us? Where are all his wonders that he did to our ancestors? He asked in honesty. He spoke in fear. He doubted, but God did not cast him aside because of it. Instead, he says, "Go in the strength that you have and save Israel. I am sending you." Gideon objects instantly. "My clan is the weakest in all the tribe. I am the least in my father's house." God's response is straightforward. "I will be with you." Even after God assured him of his purpose, Gideon required more assurance. Gideon placed a woolen fleece on the ground and prayed, "If you will deliver Israel by my hand, as you have said, behold, I will put a fleece of wool on the threshing floor. If there is dew on the fleece only, and all the ground is dry, then I shall know that you will deliver Israel by my hand, as you have said." God granted him his wish, and the fleece was wet with dew, while the rest of the ground was completely dry. Gideon asked God for another sign, and he received it once again. Gideon assembled an army of 32,000 men, although he had a smaller number than the 135,000 Midianites' army. But there was something unusual that God had to say. "You have more people here than I want you to have. Should you defeat your enemy with this much army, then Israel will think that they accomplished it on their own. Tell everyone who feels afraid to leave." 22,000 people went back home, and 10,000 were left. Now God said it again, "There are still too many. Take all these men to water and watch how they drink from it." All those who lapped the water like a dog were selected. That made 300 men. Midnight, and God came to Gideon and said, "Get up, go down to the camp, for I have given the camp of the Midianites into your hand." So Gideon divided the 300 men into 3 companies. All of the men had their trumpet and a jar in which there was a lighted torch hidden. Then on the signal from Gideon, they broke the jars, lifted up the torches and trumpets, then shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." The Midianite army was in chaos and confusion. In the dark, they did not know who is who, and so they were turning their swords against themselves. And those who escaped, Israel pursued them and defeated them. Gideon began as the smallest of his household, hiding, questioning, scared. But God didn't select him based on his strength. God selected him because, in times where it was simply impossible, no one would get the glory except God. And that's the message. It's not always about God choosing those with the best skills. God chooses the available. If this story sparked anything in you today, then share it with another who needs to hear this story. And don't forget to join us on Bible Drop. Each week, we bring you the amazing stories of the Bible.